Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining me today for another edition of a Udemy Life interview for my upcoming book with the same name. And today I have Udemy instructor Scott Duffy with me, and we're going to talk about his experience with Udemy and talk about some of the courses that he does and just some advice that he has. So, welcome, Scott. I appreciate you joining me today.
Thank Dennis. I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad to see you. You're looking well.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I think I just saw you earlier on one of our meetings, but that's great. So,
Let's do formalities before
yeah,
we. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. It's like, hey, I talked to you earlier on Facebook.
Right. Hmm.
So, just go ahead and give us just a brief introduction. Let us know, where you're at and just a little bit about your background, and then we'll go into the questions.
Sure. So my name is Scott. I live in Toronto, Canada. Lovely part of the world, as far as I'm concerned. Um, I have about just over a year experience on Udemy, just past that year mark, and it's been a pretty great experience. I mean, it's a little roller coaster, and we'll get into that later. But I have more than 20 years experience in programming, development, software architecture. So my worldview and my space comes from that computer geek space. So that's how I got out of school with a computer degree and through a career of being a programmer. So got me to where I am today.
Wow, that's pretty interesting because I've done some coding myself, and I know that for me, that's kind of why I went the WordPress route because coding just for me it just makes me bug out or whatever. So you said that you've been on Udemy for about a year, and that's about the same time that I came on board. So had you done any online courses before you discovered Udemy?
Not courses and not really even videos. Like I had a bit of a YouTube channel, but like just stupid things I would create. I never created a product to sell before, and I never created really any videos before. So mostly it was through blogging. I've had a dozen plus blogs in my life that I've tried, started, lost interest in. Like I've got a very easily distracted mindset sometimes, and so I've started multiple blogs. And I thought and I wasn't even really serious about making money at that time. I was just doing it out of interest. There was a time when I was trying to lose weight, so I started a weight loss blog, and then at the same time I was interested in marketing. I was working for marketing companies, and so I started a marketing blog. And then at the same time, I was also interested in stuff that was going on in the world. So I had a personal blog that was just random things that I thought. So I was blogging well before I even discovered the idea of making money online, let alone the idea of making courses.
Hmm. Kind of sounds like my path, like where I did, some blogging on things that I was interested in, and then lost interest, and then the next big thing came along, and then I, tried that. And
Yeah.
Udemy is the first place that I've actually felt that there's something going on here good. So, when did you launch your first course?
It was October 30th, 2014. So just like I said, just over a year ago. And I'll tell you the story. Like I before that, I had a blog, and I still have the blog about courses, but from a student's point of view. So I got into taking courses. I got into a point where maybe I was addicted, or maybe it was just something really exciting to me. But for the last couple of years before Udemy, I was just taking courses, signing up for anything that interested me: psychology, philosophy, from computer topics and non-computer topics. If there was a course on any topic that I thought was interesting, I would take it. I would take 3 and 4 and 5 courses at a time. And I started a blog about it. Like as I just said, I started a blog about something I'm interested in. And then it occurred to me that if I was good at this, like if I could take courses and then I could recommend courses, that's itself a skill, right? That is a service. So if there are nowadays there are 20,000 courses on Udemy for sale and 30,000 courses total. There are 1,000 courses on Coursera. There are, 50 courses on Udacity. There are 50 courses on edX. Like, there are tons of good courses out there. So to be that person that takes a lot of courses and every day, every week, and then says this was good, this was not good, that to me, I thought was my unique skill to the world, and I was going to become a internet millionaire selling Google AdSense on on my Course Mania blog. So that's how I got into Udemy. Basically, as a student, I started taking courses.
Wow. I know some other people out there who are taking courses on Udemy and then gradually transitioning into instructors. So how many courses do you have at this point now?
Good question. I would say the answer is 12, and you might find it strange that I don't know that off the top of my head, but I tend to publish unpublished courses as they succeed, or if I find that I missed the mark, if I'm not proud of the course and it turns out I regret having published it, or if I create a course and then at that point I'm like, my heart's not in it, I don't feel like what I've created is any good, I don't even publish it. So officially the answer is 12, but it's probably more than that if you count stuff that was created and never published.
Wow, I didn't know that. So you actually have some of the courses that you had available before where you've unpublished the courses so they're not available at this point?
Yeah, I think that's a mistake some people make. I see a lot of instructors, I'm not going to call anyone out, but there's some instructors who have 30, 40, 50, 60 courses, more. There's a guy who's got 200 courses, right?
Wow.
Yeah. Let's not go into that. But if you've got 40 or 50 courses, there's a good chance that it's the 80-20 rule, the Pareto principle, right? Only a small number, the 20% of your courses, bring you 80% of your revenue, for one thing. So if someone's got 50 courses, there's a good chance that 20 of them make $0 a month, right? Or half of them make nothing. So this idea, some instructors have this idea that I have one course that makes $100 a month, and so I'm going to create 20 courses, and 20 times 100 is 2,000, and it's just going to scale like that. And that's not how anything in life works, and that's not how Udemy works. Okay, so what you'll find if you create courses is you'll find some topics that have resonance with people, that get interest and attraction, and people ask questions and they ask for more, and they message you and say, but I want to learn about this, and I want to. So you'll find a topic that people get excited about, and then you'll find some topics that are like swing and a miss, right? Babe Ruth, swing and a miss, didn't hit a home run every single time at bat, right?
Yeah.
So there was a course, I'll tell you, it was called Internet of Things. I had this right here, this light bulb that I bought.
Yeah,
I remember
that.
telling you about that.
Yeah.
I thought it was the coolest thing. So you could control a light bulb using your phone.
Yeah.
So I was all excited. I created a course on it, and I did try. I mean, I put together decent PowerPoint slides. I minimized the number of words on every page. I put graphics on each page. But in the end, the course was getting a lot of signups, but a lot of 3-star review, 4-star review, 2-star review. It was like, oh, I didn't satisfy the market. And I had to think, well, do I make the course better? Do I add a lot more to it? Do I redo the lectures? Do I get into that level of detail people are asking for? Or do I quit? And so on that particular course, I figured there wasn't a future enough for me to incentivize me. Maybe I'll come back to it someday.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to take it over, I'll add you as a co-instructor, and you can add more lectures to it, and we can split that, because it does get some signups, and it did make some money, but it wasn't. I have to say, you got to cut some of the losers to make room for more winners. So,
Yeah, I can see your point behind that because, like
mhm.
you were saying, that I mean, I'm guilty of thinking that, okay, if this book or this course makes me X amount of dollars, if I just multiply, then I should get that same, like effect that you were talking about, the 20
Yeah,
times 100 or even more than that because of, I don't know what they call it, but
cross promotion, whatever.
well, yeah, the cross promotion and just how, how things scale. It's not like,
Snowball.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly that type of effect. But you're
right.
right that there are going to be some courses, and I've got a few like that I just did. I thought they would do better as far as signups because they're free
Yeah,
signups. But I've just left them for now because I've got 7 courses. But I'm sure
yeah,
that, like, as I add more, that I might see myself doing something like that.
right.
So, what is your most popular course that you have?
So, as I said, I came from a software development space, a software architecture space, and so this was the insight that I had just over a year ago, a year and a bit ago, was there are certification courses, certification tests for software architecture and enterprise architecture, the same way that accountants have to pass the tests and doctors have to pass the tests, and lots of different professions have these professional tests that give you, sometimes they give you letters after your name, right? Sometimes it's just a piece of paper you can put on your wall. You go into a job interview and you say, I'm certified in X. So that's a very that's one strategy that if instructors wanted to investigate was like, is there such a thing as a WordPress certification? Is there such a thing as a X certification? And being the expert in teaching people how to get that certification. Like Google Analytics has certifications, Google AdWords has certifications. And so, how to pass your Google AdWords test would be an interesting course topic, and you probably have enough people to do that. So, this was my topic, was how to pass this TOGAF certification, which is architecture certification. And I've said before, it pretty much became successful right away. Like the day I launched it, October 30th, I had my first sale. It was full price. So I sold the course for $49 on my first day, and I had a $49 sale 2 hours after it went live. And so then I was like, oh, now we're getting somewhere. Now we're talking.
Hmm.
So yeah, TOGAF stuff is my most popular course.
So that's just like you said, to be able to get certified, so that now, how does that pan out? Like, if somebody learns that, can they actually take that to an employer and say that they're
Mhm.
certified, or is there an actual website that you teach them and then they go to the website and take a test to get
Right.
certified?
It's so it is a test. It is a test you have to go in person
Hmm.
to the testing center.
Okay.
There is 90 minutes or 2 hours that you sit down at a computer and take a test in a testing location. It costs money to take this test, and so, but it is a certification that you can go to an employer if you are looking for a job in software development, in software architecture, and you say you're TOGAF certified. There's some segment of the world that would be impressed by that and to say, oh, well, you're TOGAF certified. The last 5 people that I talked to aren't. So, you are more interested in your own education and taking care of yourself than other people. And B, you may have some skills that I would love to bring into my company without having to bring in a whole trainer and bring in a whole. So I find it certification is a substitute for experience sometimes for
Hmm.
any field.
Yeah,
Hmm.
really cool. And so
Yeah,
that course is still performing well for you?
yeah, yeah. It's my still my main money maker. I ended up creating. So this is this is perhaps one tip. We kind of touched on that just a moment ago, but if you find the topic that works. So let's say you create a course on A and a course on B and a course on C, and C takes off, and C is the one that you get questions, you get people asking for more, you get reviews. Consider seriously creating another course that people who took C would also be interested in. So a sister course, a related course, the at next level, maybe the advanced techniques or the so once you find your, it's like digging for gold. You dig a
Yeah.
hole, dig a hole, dig a hole. Once you find gold, don't go off and find another hole. Keep digging.
Yeah, exactly. You want to take people from like that, like let's say my MailChimp course or whatever, take them up into the next course, which would be maybe list building or something like
Right?
that.
Lead
Or
generation,
exactly.
funnels,
Yeah.
digital marketing. So you know if MailChimp is a popular topic, that those people are interested in emails and collecting emails.
Hmm.
And so what else do people who are interested in MailChimp, what else are they interested in?
Yeah.
Right? And it's not golf, you know? Like don't switch, it might be golf, but
Yeah.
that seems like a non sequitur, you know, just it's a
Yeah.
totally thing. So I see a lot of instructors who create 60 courses on 50 different topics. Um, no, don't do that.
Yeah, and sometimes they're not necessarily like they do they it's not because they're the expert in that subject matter, it's that they're bringing in co-instructors to, bring that into their fold or whatever. And
Yeah.
for some people it works, and for me, I'm like I only want to teach stuff that I'm an expert or that I'm passionate about, because that's going to
Yeah.
show to your students that you're an expert and you're passionate about those courses.
Well, you have to be passionate about teaching that topic, right?
Hmm.
So you don't like y- you can be an expert or you can be just somebody who's got a huge wealth of knowledge but is not yet an expert.
Hmm.
You yourself do not have to be living and breathing and dying into MailChimp every single day, as long as you don't mind answering questions about it and helping people learn it and discovering something new and wanting to share it with people. And the passion almost lies in the helping people, not just in the topic, because there's people who are passionate about trains but have no interest in really helping people understand the love of trains. Like the sharing of that passion is equally important.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I like weather and I talk about weather a lot, and I get told you should have been a weatherman, and I'm like, I have no interest in being a weatherman. I just
Right.
like weather.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good point.
Okay.
So you have all of these courses out there now. So let's go ahead and talk about maybe some course creation tips that you could give our listeners on things that have worked for you or advice you'd like to share with them.
Yep. Sure. So I think one of the mistakes I see people make is they think they know right off the bat. Like within a, if I was to ask a random person, what would you like to create a course on? They have an answer, right? They say, oh, I'm going to create a course on and WordPress. Like not to say, but that's just my
Yeah.
default topic. I'm going to create a course on WordPress. And it's like, but why? Do you know if there's other courses on WordPress? Do you know what the market is like? How many people are buying courses on WordPress?
Hmm.
Like they don't do any research investigation. They don't look at competition. They don't look at the market. They don't look at demand. They have they make the decision only inside their head with no view of the outside world. And so I think you should, anytime you want to create a course on a topic, even if you're an expert instructor, but especially if you're starting out, do some research. Just spend 3 or 4 hours. Go on Amazon. Go on YouTube. Go on Udemy. Go on the web. Go on Wikipedia. Go everywhere, and just try to get a feeling for: is this oversaturated? Is there no demand? Are people not interested in this at all? Like if you can't find other courses on the same topic that you're teaching, on the one hand, you're like, wow, I want to be the first person to teach Sharpie pen sculpting. Like that's my passion. But there's no other courses on that topic. Be very suspicious, because it's very difficult to be a pioneer and to have to be the one cutting down the trees. uh, as well as selling people things. Like it's not. There's a balance. So market research is my course creation tip.
Yeah, it's funny that you pick WordPress because it seems to be like one of those topics, like another WordPress course or another how to create courses on Udemy or how I made thousands of dollars on Udemy or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, sometimes it's okay to do that, but like you said, it's important to research because just because it's WordPress and there's a lot of WordPress courses out there doesn't mean that you can't produce a course on WordPress. You've just got to see like what people are looking for,
Right.
and maybe there's a segment of WordPress where somebody hasn't taught a course on that, and you can go in and teach that and have it be a
It's
lucrative income for you.
right. Yeah. There's a lot of and WordPress is a good example because we were just talking about how like I started out blogging.
Hmm.
I started out on Blogger and then I moved to WordPress. Okay, and so you think if you're a blogger and they say 25% of the websites in the world run on WordPress,
Yes.
right? So
Yep.
a lot of people have experience on WordPress.
Hmm.
Okay, so that's actually too broad a market. Like it's like you, me, and 10 million people, Dennis, have experience with WordPress.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm not saying WordPress is a bad one. I'm sure there's plenty of people that make good money selling it. But yeah, better to find an angle. It's just like an angle or hook. You gotta be different or be better. And if you're not different and you're not better, then you're in last place. Like it's
Yeah.
just So yeah, that's just my advice is find your angle, find your hook, find why someone would choose. Like let's talk about iOS. Sorry to drag this on, but
No, that's fine.
like the number one course on Udemy, the single number one course on Udemy is Rob Percival. Well, it's his web development, HTML, okay?
Yeah.
Not the iOS. Rob Percival's HTML development course is number one. Okay, he sells um, during Black Friday, he was selling more than 1,000 courses a day.
Wow.
Okay, so yeah, and so think of it like that, or 1,500. It was
Hmm.
we were tracking the numbers, some of us, and it was like his sales rate is phenomenal. So, are you going to create an HTML course? How are you going to be better than Rob Percival at HTML? Right? Tell me. Or how are you going to be different than Rob Percival? Because if you're not different and you're not better, Rob Percival is going to sell more in 5 minutes than you'll sell in a month.
Yeah.
So just you know, find a better solid piece of ground to stand on. Don't stand on quicksand.
I find it interesting that HTML is still, I mean, relevant because there's so many different. Like for me, I used to hard code stuff. I used to know active server pages, and I could code HTML. I had to do that at a job that I had when I was younger. But when WordPress came along, I switched to that because I'm more of a designer than a developer. And you have to know a little bit about coding to understand how it works, but
Mm-hmm.
I like the ability to drag things and plug in things for functionality that I need because you can create, like with WordPress, you can create a website so quickly. And
Well,
so that's just
but
what it's weird.
right. So, but people are. Where do you make money? You'll make money creating themes and
Yes, and
things like that. So,
plugins. Yes, exactly. Exactly. I totally agree. So, both you and I are in the Udemy studio, which is a group on Facebook. So, if you're watching this and you're not familiar with it, it's a group of instructors and those wanting to become instructors of, I think, over 35,000 members now. And it's more than doubled since you and I have started in the studio.
hmm
So, one of the things that I was so used to seeing is so many people, they would come in, they would create a course, and they're like, launch it, and they're like, what next? And
yeah.
so the marketing aspect really comes into play. So What are some of the things that have worked for you and that you can advise like new instructors or maybe instructors that are struggling with marketing? What would your advice be?
Yeah, that's a great question because I think I was just talking with somebody yesterday who just created a course, right? So just launched a course live, 0 students, 0 reviews, and wants to go back to her life and say, okay, now my course is live. I'm expecting Udemy to pick up the slack and do the work. And I said to her, I said, well, um, you know, there's this concept of momentum, right? And so if you have momentum, it's easier to keep momentum, right? It's easier to keep going at 100 miles an hour or 60 miles an hour or whatever than to go from 0 to try to get even to 10 miles an hour. Like that's more effort, more energy. Like if you look at that, the amount of gas that you use to go from 0 to 10. So um, I think you need to get your course some momentum. You, as an instructor, you have to put some effort in to get some momentum. So what is um, stuff that works? So first of all, I've never been really successful with Twitter. I just haven't. Now I realize
Hmm.
that some people, you have to find where your audience is ultimately. So my audience of enterprise architects, serious business people who are making 6 figures a year and need to learn the skill to move on to their career, they're not hanging out on Twitter. All right, that's my take. Now, do I need to go onto LinkedIn? LinkedIn seems like a really smart platform for reaching these types of people who are business professionals in that enterprise architecture space. That's an expensive advertising platform at LinkedIn. Okay, so somebody was saying to me that it's like 4 times as expensive or $4 a click or something like that. So averaging $4 a click to get traffic on LinkedIn. Well, if you're only making $5 on a $10 coupon on Udemy, you can't afford to purchase traffic on something like LinkedIn. So I know it's a little bit all over the place, but you have to know where your audience is. So if your audience is on Twitter, if you're creating a course on Periscope, on perhaps WordPress, on these internet marketers, there's people that love to create 20,000 followers just by following each other. Then maybe Twitter is a place to sell to them because that's where they are, right? But is your audience is on Facebook? One thing that people do is they create a Facebook page or a Facebook group around a certain topic. So let's say you've got a course on Mailchimp and email marketing.
Hmm.
So if you created a group or a page on email marketing and you were to get people to join that page, not just people that you already know, but random people
Yeah.
were looking for tips, email marketing tips, or the best email marketing, whatever, that's a strategy to get people as well in terms of creating an interest group and then so for instance, Dennis, you have a number of groups that are popular with instructors, right? So the anything Udemy group, and so if you are having a course like I have aimed at Udemy instructors, well then it's good to go to a Udemy instructor group,
Yeah.
give away your coupons there, or to pay the moderator for advertising or something like that. So find out where your audience is and fish. It's like fish where the fish are.
True. True. I think that that's a good point because a lot of times we see instructors go into these groups that we talk about, and even though my group initially I wanted it to focus on marketing and course creation now and things that we're talking about right now rather than distributing coupons like a lot of those coupon groups that are out there, everybody's creating one, and some have more members than others, but most of those members are other Udemy instructors.
Right.
So if your course is a course on code,
Accounting.
exactly,
Yeah.
nobody's going to be interested in it unless it's specifically geared towards a majority of people. So that is why I tell people look for groups specifically in your niche,
Right.
and there are groups like that. I know a WordPress marketplace that has over 1,000 members, another one with 800 members, and you're just talking about MailChimp that gave me an idea, that maybe I should myself have a group specifically focused on MailChimp,
Well, you don't need more groups, Dennis. If
Ugh,
before you create a group,
yeah.
you gotta close one down. That's my rule to you.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a few that I could probably do without because I sometimes I feel
Then,
like I'm babysitting. So,
or
and
something you tried something, it didn't work. You have to, instead of just accumulating, you have to man up and say, you know what, this particular thing, I had this idea, and it doesn't seem to be popular. Maybe we get one post a week, or maybe you're the only person who ever posts.
hmm
Say, okay, you know what? I will close this down to make room for a group aimed towards new WordPress users, brand new WordPress user group, or brand new MailChimp user group, right? That's a
yeah,
better group for you to sell your courses. I mean, I understand you do also make a good chunk of your income from affiliate marketing and things like that, but you got to balance it, I guess. So
yeah, yeah,
um, so
absolutely.
that my tip would be, yeah, create a group or find a group. Now, if you find a group, you can't just go in there on day one, morning one, and start pasting coupons, spamming the place. You'll get yourself booted pretty quickly. What you end up having to do is become a trusted member. So answer questions, help people without posting your link. Help people. Just go in there every day and try to help people, and then you'll develop a reputation. Then people will start tagging you and say, "Hey, Scott, can you answer this question for me?" And I will be notified in Facebook that there's a question somewhere on the web that needs answering. And so you develop a reputation, you develop that mindset of helpfulness, and then magic thing happens. People start posting your links to other people's questions without you even being there. Suddenly it's like, oh, did you try? Scott has a course on this. Boom, here's a link. And it's like, wow, I wasn't even there. I didn't
hmm
even know about this. It was all happening without me. That is a organic thing, grassroots thing, a natural thing, as opposed to being marketed ugly, yucky, spammy marketing. Go for authentic in your
Yeah.
marketing.
hmm I think that that's a great point, and I've even used that before in the studio. Just I think within the last week on your new piracy course because
Yep.
somebody had asked a question, and it's like, hey, here's your resource right here from
Yeah,
another.
free course. It's forever free. I'm never going to market to people there. I'm never going to try to convert to paid and then try to do an upsell. No, it's forever free. And it happened again already, not just with you, but it was another person that posted a direct link to my course in the studio to answer a question. Because every few days, somebody discovers this amazing secret
hmm
that there's pirates on the web that steal things, and it's a new experience. And Udemy is particularly
Yeah.
terrible about being protecting of that. So, you better to. Anyways, it's a resource, and I'm glad that other people find value to share with other people, and I don't even need to be attentive to that, and I'm not marketing.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
True. So you mentioned like that you had started blogs and you had lost interest, and I think you even mentioned distractions, and I'm one that easily gets distracted. So one of the questions that I have for you is, are there any tools that you're using to stay productive, or just techniques that you're using to stay productive throughout your day?
So for many months, for most of the year, I've been working full time. So I wake up in the morning, I go to work. Maybe I'm on Facebook during the day, but I come home, and then I only at 9 or 10 o'clock at night do I really get serious about Udemy.
hmm
Now, recently I'm free, so I can spend more time on Udemy, and it's been hard. It is hard to focus, get because what tends to happen to me, Dennis, is have in my mind things that I like to do. Maybe it's a laundry list of one day maybe ideas, and if something catches my eye, and it happens to match something that I always wanted to do, it's so easy to just get lost in that thing and forget that I was supposed to be working on a course this week. So I am probably the worst person to answer the question about being productive. I'm just now getting into using a calendar,
Uh-huh.
if you can believe.
Yeah,
Um,
that's interesting. Is it a paper calendar?
do I have it here? No, I guess my wife took it. But yeah, there's a um, my wife is working with me on my courses, so we have
Hmm.
like a partnership,
Oh, nice.
and we have meetings. And part of our meeting is to map out our week and say Monday this, Tuesday this, Wednesday that, lay out onto a paper calendar our plan for the week. So yeah, there's a paper calendar involved. And for all my online stuff, so this call with you and with the call this morning and with the call yesterday and I'm starting to use Google Calendar, but I need to learn. If anyone has got a good course on productivity and focus,
Ah,
recommend one to me because I'm terrible at it.
there's I think that Matt has one, and then there's also that 17-year-old like, Mark, I think is his name, who has a productivity course that I have watched a little bit. But it's funny that you talk about the paper calendar because I went and bought one yesterday at Walmart so that I could write my goals in it. I found one finally that had enough room for me to, because I write funky,
Yeah.
and so that I could write my goals and my personal stuff that I had done. I still like to keep that in Google Calendar, and I actually use, I think it's called Sunrise Calendar, that it connects to Google Calendar. But the funny thing is that apparently Microsoft bought them, and they're about to kill it off. They just bought it to put the features in their products,
Oh,
and then they're no longer developing that.
I hate that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I still believe in having something like that because when you're on the go and you have like a device like a tablet or an Android phone or an iPhone, I'm probably not gonna pick up my paper calendar unless I carry it in my laptop bag. So I need to have it on an electronic device too. But I've heard that like by writing it down, that
Mm,
it's actually easier to get that ingrained in your head, your goals and stuff like that, you know?
yeah.
So I'll see. It's like that's something that I'm doing to stay productive. But yeah, I'll send you a link to those courses because I need to watch those myself too. Because Facebook is something that's necessary for what we do, but it's also a big time drain
Yeah.
too. And like you said, I could get sucked into it, and then like all of a sudden I'm like, where did my day go? Like what was I doing? Oh
Right.
my gosh, I had a course that I wanted to create. So I'm there with you on that with productivity. So what piece of advice, not speaking like just necessarily on productivity, but in general, what advice would you give to other Udemy instructors that are out there that would be watching this?
So, yeah, one piece of advice that I would give to other instructors is that you need to, I would say, keep going is one piece of advice. So, persistence is a good trait to have, and
Hmm.
that does not mean like there's this thing in software development people use called fail fast, and so they put out something, and if it doesn't work, they say that failed, and then they move on. They don't hang on to something for 2 and 3 years if it's not working. But I think that does not mean give up easily, right? If you're a baseball player and you go up to the plate for the first time and a fastball swings by you and you miss, you do not just throw the bat down and say, "Okay, well, the baseball's not for me. I'm quitting baseball. That's it."
Yeah.
Right? So you have to keep doing something to get good at it. So you keep creating videos, you keep creating courses, you keep trying, you get better. You listen to people who give you advice in terms of getting better. You have to be a filter. Like not everybody is. You don't listen to every single person that ever says a word to you, but you can't just give up. So keep going and improve. So you
Hmm.
can't just keep going flat. Just every time you do a course, do it, make it better, and something that you think, like I was saying earlier, you either got to be different or got to be better. At some point, you want to be the best at some topic, and
Yeah.
maybe you can't do that on your first course, but by your 10th course, you should have an idea of a good topic and how you're going to be the best at that.
Hmm.
So keep going.
That's good advice because a lot of people, like you said, I've seen them if like in a certain amount of time, if they're not making a certain income, that they give up and say it's not for them. But I know, like from other talking to other instructors, like one that I was going to bring up is Phil Ebner, who's started out several years ago, only making like maybe $30 or something like that, and now he's making over $10,000 a month with Udemy. And the other thing like is always be learning because like we were talking about email marketing. Well, Phil came out with 3 videos on it was a blog post or something like that that I saw come across my screen. 3 videos to watch before starting your list, and how to double your opt-ins, what is a lead magnet, where to put opt-in forms. Well, I know some of that stuff already, but I'm always willing to learn and see what others have to say about something in order to become better at what I do.
Right.
So that's something that people have to keep in mind is just always be soaking in information to improve your game.
Well, and you have to understand what's important too, right? So you got to understand who's your ideal student, what problems they're having, and so everything you want to learn has got to be around how can I help people better? How can I become a better teacher? How can I become better at videos? I want to have text flying in beside me, and so I'm on screen and the text is on screen at the same time. Like those kind of skills are better for the student, better for your target market. You don't have to know everything about everything. Focus, but yeah, get better at helping people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
So what about brand new instructors? I like to call them newbies.
Yeah.
What maybe 1 or 2 pieces of advice would you have for them?
So I think you have to, like I said earlier in this interview, is spend some time thinking about your topic. Don't just come with like you may have decided on your topic before you even knew Udemy existed. And that's quite common. I'm sure people want to make a course and then they go on Pat Flynn's group and say, how do I make a course? And then somebody says, Udemy is an option and they come. So spend some time thinking about your topic, and then set yourself goals. Okay, so say I'm going to give myself till Friday to decide exactly what topic, and then I'm going to give myself till the following Friday to write out all of the lecture names and what's going to be, sort of scope out the course, and then I'm going to give myself until a month from now to create the course. So set yourself goals, I would say.
Great, thank you.
Hmm.
So one of the questions that I had on here, I'm not actually going to ask. It was a question that I had on there before I started thinking about things about sharing monthly revenue. And we know that in the Udemy studio that people share that kind of stuff, but I believe that the other stuff that we've talked about is more important than actual numbers. But what I would like to ask you is like maybe some of the things that Udemy has allowed you to do. Maybe I know that you've traveled. I know that because
Hmm.
you're in Canada that you're able to go to Cuba and that you went to Cuba and that looks
Well,
awesome. And I think you had mentioned something about like your home mortgage too, maybe.
well, yeah. I mean, that question comes up about income from time to time, and there has been a couple of times that I mention a particular number. Um, all I'm really comfortable saying is that I think I'm. Oh, Udemy put out a graphic recently that had how many instructors are making, this much, how many instructors are making that much. They broke down numbers in terms of income and
Yeah.
and number of people. Okay, so there's a let's say there's like 9,000 people with courses according to John Coley, and I would say uh, I'm in the top 2%. Okay,
That's awesome.
So, think of a number that you would be happy with, not you, Dennis, but anyone listening. And I'm probably there.
Good, good. So you
Mhm.
think that I know that you've talked about that you had your job that you were doing, and now you're
Yeah.
on a break from that. Do you think
Yeah,
that
and I'm
you,
not really worried. Like that's
yeah,
so to answer your question, right now I'm been banking the money.
mm-hmm,
It's nice to sort of build up a little bit more of a nest egg, a financial
yeah,
cushion, if you will. Um, and yeah, since now I work on contracts, so it's not unusual for me to be working for somewhere for 6 months and then have to go find another job for 6 months and find another job for 6 months.
mm-hmm,
That's the nature of what I do.
yeah,
Um, but right now, I'm just, it's now December. I'm going to fly through Christmas. It'll be January, maybe January before I really start thinking about that again. I don't
mm-hmm.
mind working. Actually, people have a dream of quitting work as they're like, oh, as soon as I make $2,000 a month, I'm going to quit my job. That's never been my really dream. It's nice to wake up when I want to wake up and to spend my day doing what I want. But it's also nice to have two incomes. So
Yeah, yeah, and you have that flexibility too now at this point, because this is a nice time of the year to be able to just take off and enjoy life, and because I worked in retail for years,
yeah,
and I just did not like the holidays, because
yeah,
I just think that people were at their worst during the holidays. And so now that I don't have to go into a retail store or a mall or something like that, I just feel much more relaxed than I used to be,
sure,
and I just have to bring it up to that point, and I know that I will, so that my goal is that by next year that I can be self-sufficient and be out on my own, because and other people that I talk to within the Udemy circles, that I live with my folks. I take care of their place while they're in Arizona, so they're away right now. They come back
nice,
next year, and that's my time to get back out on my own. And I feel comfortable that I'm on that path to be able to do that. So it's
yeah.
cool. It's cool to see, like, where you're at in your progress throughout Udemy.
Hmm.
So, do you have any upcoming courses besides the new one that you just released on the piracy?
Um, Yeah, I'm not really going to announce what my next course is yet, but I think I have a suspicion that a lot of Udemy instructors are going to like it. It's a very specific topic, and you see people asking this question or mentioning this in the studio. It comes up again and again and again. So I have a feeling if I do this right and I spend the time and I create a really good
Hmm.
course on it, that it's going to solve a pain point um, for people who like this is not for newbies. This is not for people who don't have a course. This is aimed at existing instructors, and I think it'll be um, cross your fingers. You never know, but I'm hoping that my next course will be something that's well received.
Hmm.
I have a course that I just launched during the Black Friday event called Udemy Topic Selection. And topic selection, we just talked about in the beginning of this interview, is very important in terms of what should your next course be on, or what if this is your first course, what should your first course be on? And so went through a whole process of getting these ideas out onto paper and eliminating some obvious ones that are bad ideas and doing the research. And I show you exactly where I go to do the research. I put up together a scoring system that assigns points to certain things, and you can just add it up, and out of 10 ideas or 20 ideas, you can see, well, these are the top 3. Which of these 3 am I most interested in doing a course on? So I would say I'm excited. When I haven't sent any coupons for this yet to anywhere. I'm still um, haven't launched it, but it's live. And
Hmm.
so Udemy topic selection is going to be, I think it's something special too. So,
Awesome. So, how about one last thought or one last piece of advice before we head off today?
um, So really, I want to thank you, Dennis, for the time and for you've been a really good supporter of instructors, not just me, but how many dozens of instructors that you've helped talk to and produce these videos for the last year. So thank you for that. And my advice to people is to find an instructor who you think is doing a good job, who is successful and is living and operating in a way that you respect, that you would like to model yourself after, and you know, I would say why not buy their course, watch it, learn what they do, learn how they do what they do, model yourself after success. Now, don't copy people. Don't make the exact same course.
Yeah.
That is a lesson for lesson copy. That's not flattery in Udemy world. But if you find someone that you think, if it's Rob Percival or Alan Hill or any of these instructors who are even Jerry Banfield, if they're successful, Matt Bernstein, these guys who have led the way, and you want to be like them, I would say do that. Like, start to figure out what it is they do. Where do they market their course? How do they talk to people? Are they helpful? Are they always marketing? Is every message they post to every forum a sales message, or are they answering questions with no hint of a sales message? And just trying to find that voice. And if that matches what you want to be like, that's a good way. So model yourself after the success that you want to be like.
Hmm. Great. I think that's awesome advice. I think that
Hmm.
that's some of the best advice so far.
Hmm.
We've gotten a lot of great advice from the instructors that I interview, but I really like that. So I want to thank you for taking time out of your day again. I know that we've done this before, and you're going to be joining me on Blab here. We're recording this on December the 15th. So
Hmm.
Sunday, I can't calculate quick enough what day that is. Um, I think
The
it's the
20th.
20th. Yes, it's my brother's birthday. And we're
Yeah.
going to be talking about piracy. And I think we're going to talk a little bit about SEO, since you have that great SEO course, because that's what
Yeah.
I like about the stuff. You're teaching skills that Udemy instructors need to have in order to be successful. So,
Yeah.
so that's much appreciated. And
Thanks.
before we go, where at online would you like people to find you?
So I'm trying to set up my presence on VIDEOCOURSES.CA.
Hmm.
So I do have some links to my courses there, but I want to. That's where I'm going to really grow out my. Any of my Udemy courses should be findable on VIDEOCOURSES.CA, and yeah, and otherwise join the Facebook group, the Udemy Studio, or Dennis's Anything Udemy group, and you'll be able to find me there.
Yeah, I got to remember that I changed the name on that
I
because
keep
I.
reminding you. Yeah.
uh, we can't just talk about marketing. So great. And
Yep.
and for me, you can find me online at dennisjsmith.com. So that's where you'll want to go look for future interviews like this, the blabs that I do, and the one that I'm doing with Scott coming up. So I certainly appreciate everyone for joining us for this discussion or watching this discussion, and look forward to doing it again. Thanks, Scott. Certainly
Thanks,
appreciate it.
Dennis. Yep. Take care, guys.